Welcome, everybody, to Build Different Finance. Thanks for tuning in, episode two. So excited for everybody to be gaining this knowledge. I know I've been fascinated by it. Today, we are going to talk about something that a lot of people don't understand, annuities. And we are going to be joined by Miss Rebecca Cease. She is a protection specialist, and I look forward to hearing what you have to say. Hi, Rebecca. How's it going?
Hi, great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Enjoying this
Thank
beautiful day.
Yes, yeah. Thanks for having me on.
Oh yeah, I'm really excited to hear what you have to say about annuities, but you have done an amazing thing that some of us talk about and dream about, but you have really put it into action. So you've written a children's book called Daisy the Dragonfly. Tell me a little bit about your book.
Oh, I'd love to. She's a little passion project of mine. So to kind of give you a little background, I spent 34 years caring for people in healthcare, and about 4 years ago, I took the leap and walked away from that career. And so that is kind of where Daisy the Dragonfly started, by, taking a leap and believing in your dreams. And I have always loved children's books. I would make up stories for my kids before they would go to bed. And so one night, the story just kind of came to me. I have a love of dragonflies. And so I just started writing about taking a leap, believing in yourself, um, not letting the naysayers, put you down, and that you're meant to do great things. And so the story evolved, and it's something I wanted to share with kids. And the illustration came, the pictures are amazing. The illustrations that they came up with for the story just pop off of the page. And so Daisy started, right? She's now helping kids learn to help other people and to believe in yourself and to take the leap and not let fear stand in your way.
I love that. That is so amazing. I think anything that you could put out there to encourage others, especially children, is just fantastic, because they're trying to find themselves and grow and mature. And those books, you remember those books as a kid, that, oh,
Yeah.
that's my favorite book. Mom, read it again. So, yeah, that's awesome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
So, how is it going with it? Have you done a lot of book signings and what's the process?
So the book just came out in December. I've had one book signing so far. I am online, it's global, it's all over. So we're on Amazon and Barnes and Noble and a lot of other, small little those are the two big ones. Oh, I think Walmart also. So
Okay.
it's been going. The word is getting out. Starting a TikTok. Daisy's gonna have her own channel so she can spread and we can, so she can spread her wings. And so sales are
Mhm.
going great. It's been a nice, slow, steady progress.
That is really cool. And we'll definitely link that book in our description there below. Um, so, how do you go from healthcare to writing a book to talking about annuities? How did you get here?
Yeah, right. It seems kind of like, but it all really kind of flows together. After being in healthcare for 34 years, I saw how quickly things can change
Yeah.
for older people and also younger families.
Mhm.
I mean, young kids need protection also
Mhm.
because we just don't know. And so, my mission here to protect families is the same. I kind of bring that same care and integrity that I brought to healthcare with helping someone that now here in wealth care. I say went from healthcare to wealth care.
Yeah.
So I can help people feel safe, informed, prepared, and making sure that their legacy and everything that there's peace and
Mhm.
so annuities is a great way that somebody can find peace with.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah. Putting that money away for your future is so important.
Yes.
So I wanted to talk, there's a lot of misconceptions about annuities. So what's an annuity?
Well, that's a really great question, right? You kind of want to think of annuity like creating your own pension plan.
Hmm.
You can take a portion of your savings and then reposition it so it can provide you a guaranteed stream of income, no matter how long you live.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's really smart because a lot of people I know, I have been in home health care a little bit throughout my life, and I know a lot of seniors really wonder what is going to happen with their money. Are they going to outlive their money? And so I think that, like you said, it gives that peace of mind. We never know what's going to happen in the future. So, I like that it pays you no matter what. You're able to put that money in and just have that security for you and your family. So, how do you design that? Like, how do you go about even getting an annuity? Why does it matter?
Right? Well, one thing that's really nice is by getting an annuity, it really shifts the risk from you and it takes it, to the insurance company. And before kind of knowing how to get an annuity, it's kind of, people tend to ask me, well, there's a lot of questions behind it, right? Like, why do I even want one? There's so many myths out there,
Uh-huh.
right? I mean, I'm sure you've heard of some of the myths that are out there.
Mm-hmm.
And to be honest, there's a lot of outdated information
Mm-hmm.
that is out there. There's been bad experiences. There's been like the blanket advice that all annuities are bad, which really
Right.
isn't true, right? So one of the myths that I like to kind of get off the table right away is annuities have really bad returns.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the annuities that I design, they're not designed for that.
Mm.
They're not designed for high growth. They're actually designated for predictability and for income.
Right.
So when you are comparing them to the stock market, it's like comparing a seatbelt to a race car, right? They serve a different purpose.
Yeah.
But as you get closer to retirement, let me ask, the biggest risk in retirement really isn't the return, right? It's experiencing that big loss at a wrong time.
Yeah. Definitely.
So, wouldn't it give somebody more, peace of mind if just a part of their retirement savings was protected
Right.
while still being able to give them income?
Mm-hmm.
And that's something that annuities can guarantee.
Okay.
Another myth that I hear from people before, like how you can design one, is well, you're going to lose control of your money.
Mm-hmm.
And, modern annuities often provide liquidity options. They have income riders and flexibility. And it's really not about locking everything up for a period of time. It's about structuring a portion of your money to work differently. Kind
Right.
of think about your 401k. I mean, how much control do you have in your 401k? Do you
No.
have any control over the
No.
market?
No.
No, right? So now you want to imagine, imagine it's your time to retire and the market crashes
Mm-hmm.
like it did in 2020.
Yeah.
Even if your account is in a conservative market, a loss is a loss,
Right. Yeah, you're
right?
definitely riding those waves of the market. I don't even want to look at my accounts, when you're in those kind of products because you're going up and you're down. And to me, it's like you're watching some baseball game where they're winning, they're losing, they're winning, they're losing. I don't want to look. And so it makes you have a lot of anxiety about what's going to happen with your money.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, if you could even take a part of your income where you're guaranteed not to lose anything in the market, doesn't it make more sense? And doesn't it make that you would actually have a little more control
Yeah.
over not having control of your money?
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point. I remember hearing commercials about safe money and thinking, safe money, what is that? And it is a way to put your money into a product that is not going to be riding with the market. And so it is a good financial decision. You've got to spread yourself out when you're thinking about your investments and your future, whether that be today or 10 years down the line. So another myth that I think that I hear a lot is annuities are very expensive.
Yes. Well, some have fees, some don't. And the key is really to understand what are you paying for,
Yeah.
right? If it's guaranteeing lifetime income, that protection has some value.
Mhm.
Just like insurance on your home, right? I mean, each annuity is designed for your specific need, which I really love. I mean, I have clients who have rolled their money, and there's no fees. There's stuff out there that have zero fees. It's all about what somebody is comfortable with. There's no cookie cutter annuity out there. It is set specifically to your individual need. And right now, most people, they're paying 3 and 4% on their money in their retirement account that they have, like in their 401k,
Mhm.
and they don't even think about it.
Mm-mm.
It's just money leaving that account. And a lot of that I attribute to just lack of education. I mean, I know I was there once upon a time. I had no idea how my 401k worked, you
No,
know?
no. No. You have to pay all those fees. And, people are like, oh, I'm going to retire on that. And then when you look at it, you're like, no, you're really not able to. They're taking so much money from you and you put it in all these years. So I know people are really concerned about those type of things. And if you would, I know my first episode was about people in the market right now. A lot of people are losing their jobs. If you were to advise someone, they have an old 401k, they have a 401k with a job they lost. What advice would you give them?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So when somebody leaves a job, often, they have that option to roll over their 401k into an RA or even, an annuity, and you can do so without taxes or penalties. And so a lot of people are starting to choose and allocate a portion of their money into an annuity that can give them income for life.
Okay. Yeah, that's really smart. I like that. So, if you're one of those people trying to figure out what to do with your money, would you say somebody should rush in and get their annuity and go ahead and sign up right now? Or what should people really consider first?
Well, you want to be thoughtful about this, right? I mean, and let's be honest, annuities may not be for everyone. Um, there's a couple of questions that you want to ask yourself. And this is kind of where planning happens. You want to sit down with somebody and you want to ask yourself, you know, you have this 401k, like when do you need your money?
Right.
What's the horizon? What does the horizon look like? Do I need this money tomorrow? Can I have it sit 7, 10 years? Like, when are you going to need that income?
Mm-hmm.
Also, when you're ready to retire, how much access do you need to that money right now?
Right.
Another question you need to ask yourself is, are these market swings keeping you up at night?
Huh.
I know for my husband,
Yeah.
sometimes they do, the closer you get to retirement.
Yeah.
And then looking at your entire picture of your retirement, you have your Social Security, right? We hope we'll have our
Yeah.
Social
Right.
Security. And how much more income are you going to need
Hmm.
in those retirement years?
Yes.
And so thinking of an annuity, it's not about replacing absolutely everything, but having this big, diverse plan, bringing everything full circle so that you're taken care of, which is great,
Right,
you know.
definitely. Definitely. That's so smart because, if you have a diversified financial plan for yourself, you know that in retirement or whatever life circumstances happen, you'll be able to take care of yourself. So if someone had maybe 300,000 from an old 401k, their job had ended, what would you recommend? Like what are the steps to put yourself like, I want to do an annuity. How long is that? What does that entail?
Well, I really think it's going to be a matter of just sitting down with somebody, like yourself,
Mhm.
sitting down and let's take a look at the whole picture, not just that money, but also, you know, what do you have for other income? Like I said, you want to look at, really just starting that conversation right now.
Mhm.
What are your goals? Uh, what kind of, because there's so many different options out there for people. Um, and like I said, it's not a one size fits all plan. So we want to market to your specific need. So that first step is booking that appointment and just sitting down, right? And just
Yeah.
figuring out where can I go from here?
Mhm.
Um, I had a client, and I'll kind of give you a little example of somebody who took the time to sit down, and they're a little older. They've been in their retirement years for a while, and they have been living just on the 4% rule. Most of
Okay.
us probably have heard of the 4% rule, which kind of covers in your 401k, you have what is called the required minimum distribution, so much that you have to take out of that account,
Yeah.
or the government is going to tax you
At a certain age, right?
at a certain age,
Yeah.
correct? And they were past that age. I believe it's 73. Well, they were living minimally, and they always like to say they were living on a fixed income because they were afraid to take any more money out of their account. And so we sat down with them, looked at their current situation, looked at what they had for Social Security, other avenues, other incomes coming in, and they were afraid of taking any more out because that they might run out of money.
Yeah.
So we found a plan that they felt comfortable with, that they could live on their RMDs for 2 more years and give this account a little time to mature and grow,
Okay.
because they had lost some money right in 2020, which wasn't that long ago.
No.
Uh, it depleted, even though
Yeah.
they were in conservative, right? So they decided 2 years, we're going to let it grow a little bit. And so this year, they will be taking income out for life, which is really, really cool.
Yeah.
So they've created their own pension now. And the amount of money that they will be living on is double what they
Oh,
have been living
yeah. That's
on. And
fantastic.
isn't that fantastic? And this particular account too, if something would happen to them, because now they're approaching 80.
Mhm.
Um, and so hopefully nothing happens, but if life happens and maybe they need home health or they need a nursing home,
Mhm.
that amount of money that they're living on doubles. So it gives them some protection if something would happen to them in that long-term care realm. So there's not a 401k out there that can do
No,
something like that.
no.
So for
Oh,
their individual need, we were able to find something that fit perfectly for them.
that's
And
awesome. Is that like an extra rider that you add on so that that could have maybe, I know, long-term care or no, not having to
this was
add on?
actually part of this annuity.
Okay. I love that. So, and I know that there's different kinds of annuities. If somebody is young, sometimes you get a bonus and you can roll that money over after it matures into something else. Like, would you consider an annuity for someone who's younger, or what would be the age that you would say it's best to maybe put yourself into an annuity product?
I definitely would want to look at somebody who is at least over the age of 35,
Okay.
into the 35, 40 range starting, because then that gives them, a lot of a new, especially if you want, because at that you still want some growth.
Yeah.
So, but they have 10-year annuities that you can start with. And, based on how we feel the market is going to be, having not all of your money in a 401k and diversifying, even at a young age, starting at 35,
Mhm.
is a great way to help protect some of those assets so that you have money right when you go to retire, that it's not all
Yeah.
wiped out and gone.
Yeah, and I
Um,
think that that's really smart because a lot of people wait to think about retirement till they're closer to retirement. And I've actually had some appointments with 20-year-olds who were like, "Oh, I'm on it. I've already been putting money here and there." And I'm like, "I'm so proud of you." That's all I can say to them because I don't think a lot of us get a financial education, you know? And I think that if 35 on, you're putting yourself in something to where that's there if I need it. And I also, can you speak on when you say income for life, how does that work if I only put so much money into an account? What if it runs out? Does it run out?
well, no, what's really nice is because this is insurance based, you are in contract with this insurance company that says this money, even if it is depleted, right? Money is going to continue to grow. Like the insurance companies would not have liked my grandmother very well because she lived to be 98 years old. I wish I would have known about this back when so that I
Yeah.
could have had her, because she ran out of money well into her, she was
Mhm.
living on very little, well into her 80s, and money
Mhm.
ran out. Yeah, she lived to be 98 years old. If she
Wow.
would have had an account like this, it would have continued to pay her.
Well, I love it. I love that you help people with this because this is something that people need to know. They need to know that they don't have to worry, that they are not going to run out of money and not just live on Social Security, because who knows how long that will be around, right? Will it be around when I retire? I don't know. We'll see. But awesome. This has been incredible information, Rebecca. And any final thoughts or anything else you'd like to share?
You know, with any, I just, sit down and be open to a conversation. Because when's a good time to start thinking about your retirement? Today,
Yeah.
no matter what your age is. And really, retirement is not about how much money you've saved. It's about how much money or about how, you can turn what you have into a reliable income. And that is something, that annuities can do and can create for you. And so starting that conversation today be very beneficial.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing all that information. If anybody out there is looking for more information on annuities, my information will be in the comments. Rebecca will share about her lovely Daisy the Dragonfly book. It's so awesome. It's so great that you've been able to do that. And it's like never give up on your passions. We're not too old to start new ventures. So thank you so much for this time. I really appreciate it. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Episode 2 down. Bye.